Welcome into another episode of the Need for Seeds college basketball podcast, part of the Betting the Pitch podcast network. I'm your host, real_G Warner. I'm joined, as always, by Big East Ben. How you doing, Big East Ben?
Doing good. I've watched no hoops tonight.
Sorry to hear that.
I've been busy all day. I'll be watching the Marquette game after this. I have no idea what happened.
I won't spoil it for you.
I will give two reactions to it, okay? And we can edit out whichever one happened. Ready?
Great. Go.
This team is back. I don't know what happened up in Madison, but this team back in Milwaukee, they are awesome. Kolek and Oso were working the pick and roll. Joplin was draining threes. Sean Jones was eating Max Amos's lunch. This team is going places.
And for version 2.
We suck. Kolek can only dribble his left hand. Joplin couldn't make a high school varsity roster. Oso's soft. The team's scoutable. We're screwed. Shaka can't switch it up. We're done.
Well, I'm going to leave that up for everyone since I have no editing capabilities. Thank you, Zoom. This will be fun for everyone who watches, and hopefully you'll have learned the result of Marquette hosting Texas by then. So we're going to go through 6 games I think we outlined, and then give some best bets end of show. We're going to start with Purdue against Alabama. It looks like a neutral site in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. Let's play the game of let's see what my guesses look like versus actual numbers. I have Purdue a 4-point favorite.
Very close.
Uh-oh.
KenPom has that at 5. So
okay.
I don't know what Torvik has it at.
I didn't know if that was a close. Torvik has it at 6, 5.8. So I didn't know if that was a close, but it was 12. So I feel pretty good about that, though. This I think is going to be a big test for. Oh, great, I can't edit because I've run out of space in my Gmail account. So this will be fun. I guess no matchups for us today. I basically spend all my time doing rotations to figure out who the top 10 players on each team will be. But I do know Zach Edey is going to be tough to guard for anybody because no one has been able to guard him in his entire college career. Alabama's going to be a little different, though. They're going to try to get to the rim and shoot threes. He will be there at the rim. So that probably sounds like even more 3-point shots, which I'm not really a believer in Alabama so far this year. They had a good win against Iowa, lost to Northwestern on the road in overtime. I guess it's not so bad to say. Lost to some team from Milwaukee, Wisconsin as well earlier this year in Maui, and then got a good win against Tennessee, I guess, as well. They won the whole tournament, to be fair. This is Purdue, who I'm talking about anyway. So what do you think about this one? Do you think that Alabama can make enough perimeter jump shots to win this game?
We all saw Purdue lose to Northwestern in Evanston. Northwestern has a pretty good point guard named Bowie.
Yes. Sorry, that was Purdue losing Northwestern. My bad. Yes.
Yes. Right. Alabama has a great point guard in their own right. Marcus Sears, he's been lighting up this year. Normally, I would like the Tide here at a neutral court, except it's not a neutral court.
Oh, no.
It's in Toronto.
You know who's from Toronto? I do, yes.
The Neanderthal.
He's 7'4". He eats sushi after team meals, his own orders. I guess NIL allows that now.
I think the Boilermakers rally around their boy in his home country. I'm going to take Purdue. Alabama's just way too streaky, way too inconsistent. Not the team last year. I think Oates is on the starting a slow descend. Give me the Boilermakers.
Well, I mean, it's possible, but he went about as high as you possibly can because he started off, I think, winning SEC championships has been awesome. Has got at least a 2 seed that he definitely didn't live up to. But this year, there's 10th in the nation, shooting nearly 41% from 3. That's certainly helped or been aided by no true road games so far. They've lost one at home to Clemson, where they shot 11 to 35 from three. So they're gonna shoot a million of them. They're gonna try to get out in transition, try to tire Edey as much as possible. I think you're on the right track though. Grant Nelson, a great transfer from North Dakota State. Really talented player, good kind of 4-man that's 6'11", somehow made its way to North Dakota State, and basically probably could have gone for a quadruple double if that was possible in college. But really talented player. Unfortunately, I don't know that you can really prepare for Zach Edey, and maybe you can suck him out from away from the basket, and that'll be their ticket to success. I just don't think I could play it at a 5-point spread that Ken Palm's giving us. Next, we go to Illinois visiting Tennessee.
Nelson is shooting 27% from three this year. I mean, pretty on par with what Ben Gold was trying to do, and that didn't work out.
I would think that Nelson will improve on those numbers, but it could be one of those things also when you transfer up from North Dakota State in the Summit to the SEC. Granted, play hasn't started there yet, but Alabama's played Oregon, Clemson, Ohio State, Indiana State, who's a really good mid-major that I don't think is getting a lot of pub either. Also, he's probably going to be exhausted from trying to guard a Neanderthal, as one on this podcast might call him.
And Alabama is about to play a gauntlet of a schedule. I mean, you got Purdue neutral, Creighton in Omaha, and then Arizona. Where's that game? In Phoenix. Yeah, semi-neutral in Phoenix. They're going to be lucky to win one of those. I don't think it's this one.
Yeah, I mean, that could be 0-3. That's one way to go into the holiday spirit. Really trying to beat your team up and make them all hate each other and think about transferring while they're all visiting their families, I guess. One way to do it. So we'll move now to Tennessee at Illinois, at home for Illinois, unless there's something more you want to say about the Alabama, these two Utes type little jokes that have been made forever and ever. Doesn't look like you do. So,
thank you.
Tennessee hosts Illinois. Illinois coming off a pretty big comfort behind win against Florida Atlantic. You could argue that it was pretty close at halftime, and they really turned it on the second half. Incredible performances from Southern Illinois alum Marcus Domask. Also incredible taking to the hole strategy from Terrence Shannon. TJ Shannon basically going to the rim anytime Vlad Golden was not on the floor or not set up. I think that showed some weaknesses in Florida Atlantic. I think that did more for me about lowering my opinion of FAU than really jumping my opinion of Illinois. I think their peak is good, and if they make every 3-point shot or every shot in general, I think they'll beat a lot of teams and could probably win a national championship. They're that talented. I do worry about them going on the road to Tennessee, though, trying to back up a pretty big win at Madison Square Garden in the Jimmy V Classic. Now you travel 4 days later, you're playing at one of the most difficult places to play and to win in all of college basketball. Tennessee certainly struggles sometimes to shoot, but I feel like their best place to play is at home with that checkerboard floor. What do you think about Tennessee, Rick Barnes, and him hosting an Illinois team that Torvik is giving 7 points on the road? So that's higher than I made it.
Yeah, I mean, Ken Palm's giving it 5. Is that closer to what you think?
I think it's hard to say. I was saying 4. So I think maybe some overreaction and potential love for Illinois playing really good and beating a Final Four team that everyone was in love with, yet had been getting some kind of suspicious lines so far. I think it really depends on this game. Illinois is big this year. They're playing basically with no point guard. But I don't know that Tennessee are really the team they're certainly going to be physical with you, but I don't know that they're going to trap you or that they're really going to force your point guard to work getting the ball up the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Illinois win over Florida Atlantic was the ultimate overreaction game after that. I mean, like you said, Golden was dominating when he was on the floor. The thing is, he wasn't on the floor enough. I saw people on Twitter saying Terrence Shannon and Marcus Domask are the best 1-2 punch in college basketball. Give me a freaking break. Domask is shooting 25% from 3. I don't know how it got into him at MSG, but that was an extreme outlier. He played well against Marquette. I mean, but give me a break, 1-2 punch. I mean, Hawkins played well too in that game. I mean, with Tennessee, it all comes down to connect. He played in the game against George Mason today. Didn't seem like his total self. I mean, we'll give the ankle 3 more days, but again, give me if it from 5, 6, 7. Give me the Volunteers.
Yeah, that puts you in a really tough position with fouling late if you're hanging around that number. So you're either winning or trying to keep it down to that last possession and having it be decided that way. Anything under a minute, you're really looking like an underdog on the road. And I'm honestly, based on the track record for Tennessee at home, I'm not even sure that that'll even occur. Marcus Domask, I think really his whole thing was that he's 6'6" and he was going up against pretty small guards for Florida Atlantic, and I think that's going to be a problem for them forever because they're not going to grow. So we'll now go to Wisconsin. They are not a friend of this podcast, but one of us has been up close and personal with them. They're now visiting Arizona in another really tough game, but I guess this one's not on their home floor, so that's a little bit different. I was expecting Arizona to be a 7-point favorite. Felt like that's a little bit high, but I think it's deserved for considering how good Arizona are at home. What do we think about this one? We got Torvik at 7.2. So I feel like I'm somewhat close to that number.
Yeah, we got it. KenPom. Give me a sec. KenPom has Cats -6.
Okay. So in that similar range to Tennessee, which is a big fouling number, unfortunately, the road team, if they're hanging in and not winning this game.
Okay. Wisconsin.
Here we go.
The reason Wisconsin took down Marquette in Madison was 2 reasons. Three reasons.
All right.
1, Max Klesmet was Steph Curry in the first half. 24 points. 21 points. Had 2 points in the second half. Okay.
Big half.
Carry the team. And number 2, Marquette never got off the bus. I said to my fiance, it's like they're playing like Kolek fooled around with Oso's girlfriend, like a Corey Fisher, Scotty Reynolds type situation. Like they were not in sync.
Willie Warren, Blake Griffin. It seems to happen a lot. Or you can even say Mark Gottfried and Ronald Steele, his point guard, because supposedly that was happening too.
I never heard that one. I know that. Well, the Corey Fisher, Scotty Reynolds was also at the same time of Jay Wright with a student. I think those are 2 simultaneous.
I didn't know the Jay Wright with a student thing. I mean, good looking dude, Don Draper in a Villanova pinstripe suit, apparently.
So good looking. He's got to come back. He's got to coach the Sixers.
No, he's got to coach Villanova. Unless they just want to allow us to bet against Kyle Neptune forever, which I will continue to.
Yeah, they're another story. All right. And third reason, I was at the game. I've been to, I think, 5 or 6 Marquette games since the Obama administration. They haven't won a single one. The last one I saw was when Henry Ellenson was on the team and they won in Providence. Yeah, I'm just a awful
You're a bad luck charm. Maybe
yeah.
you need to I mean, because we've been to what was it, Marquette at Indiana, that didn't go so well. Marquette at home for Seton Hall, that didn't go so well.
Yeah, several losses in Providence. Yeah, at
least it's not me, you know. That's what I am most excited about. Unfortunately, I have had that same disease with the Texas football team going to every road game and us losing until Tuscaloosa. So once you break the streak, you know you will be a Final Four team.
Yeah, not you or Neil Dyer. Shout out Neil.
Hey Neil, hope you don't leave us to go play with your dogs without saying
anything. Thanks for saying goodbye to us that night. Wisconsin then follows it up by beating Michigan State in East Lansing. Crowell played out of his mind. AJ Storr played out of his mind. Never seen him play that well at St. John's. Michigan State
never
sucks.
Never saw him play at St. John's. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, Michigan State sucks. not touching the Spartans again this year.
It's a long year. Yeah, you can wait on that one.
I don't know if Wisconsin's good, dude. I don't think they are. Like I watched that whole Providence game.
Hey, a lot of good teams have gone to the dunk and gotten their doors blown off,
Yeah, I know.
or lost in triple overtime.
I know. I know. Give me Zona at home. I know I'm on the favorite strain tonight, but that is a don't think, just throw line. Um, Cats in Tucson, number one team in the country. Give me, I think Ball handles Crowell. I think the guard play supersedes Wisconsin's guard play. I think this is going to be a double digit game. I think Wisconsin comes back to earth.
I'm very interested in the pace battle in this one because Arizona is going to try to get up the floor as quickly as possible. That is literally what they do. And Wisconsin are going to do exactly the opposite because that's really how they've been built as a team for a long time. Can't say I'm in love with 32% shooting, and that's a rounded up 32% from 31.8.
It's insane they're still at 32% the way they've been playing.
I mean, they shot really well at Michigan State on the road, 10 of 23. Somehow shot 25% at home in the Marquette victory. But they've been playing pretty well, like absolutely demolished Virginia. Really from their interior. They won't have that bit of fortune. Unfortunately, I don't think it gets a big Arizona interior as well. But we'll see moving forward. Next, we'll go to Cincinnati at Xavier, the Zip 'em Up rivalry, if any of you remember that. Actually a game that we were going to try to go to last year, but maybe we should put that on the calendar going forward. Gotta
shout out
our
Skyline franchisee friends.
Yes, but unfortunately now we're just advertising Skyline and not even saying real names. So there we go. I was making Cincinnati visiting Xavier a 6-point underdog. It looks like we got a much shorter spread. According to Torvik, Xavier only a 2-point favorite. Come in here when you got it with the Ken Palm number, but maybe the Xavier 3-game losing streak to at home, all of them to Oakland, Houston, explainable, and then Delaware.
11.5-point favorites.
I mean, we're probably bigger favorites, I would assume, to Oakland as well. And they've also lost on a neutral to Washington, lost at Purdue, which is excusable. Fair to say that the best win on this resume right now is St. Mary's, who have had some really bad losses themselves. Does Xavier suck, Big East Pen?
I think Xavier sucks. I mean, they're not at full strength, obviously. Fremantle, Hunter.
I mean, if a guy like plays once in 2 calendar years, like what do we like? Can we keep saying they're not full strength? Like, I mean, unfortunately, he hasn't been there in a long time.
Yeah. Did you know the last time Cincinnati beat Xavier?
Was it the Zip 'em Up game? That was like Yancey Gates, if I remember correctly. That's probably a long time ago.
2019.
Yikes. That's a long
2019.
Time.
So if I'm Wes Miller, I'm going to the locker room and saying, hey, fellas, you guys haven't beat these guys since that short little bald angry man was pacing the sidelines.
I have hair.
I have hair and a good head of hair.
At that. Yes. And I'm trying my best to get the UNC job once they finally move on from that dunce. QB.
Dude, UConn gave him so many opportunities. Like just dumb play. Clanging, missing 3 inches. I mean, UConn played it. Whatever. Conversation for a different day. I mean, we should do a month. Like, side note. I'll get back to Cincinnati. Can I just say like how awesome college basketball non-conference play is with these games? I mean, credit the teams for playing them. It's awesome.
They stopped playing the Sisters of the Blind. I think because all these people have realized that there's money to be made in scheduling these MTEs, and ESPN events is basically the way for Disney to turn profitable.
Yeah, I mean, you get better recruits too. It's like you're going to be, center stage playing the big boys year round.
Yeah,
Um,
Matt Painter was like, "Don't worry, Zach. 4 years later, we'll get you a game in Toronto. Maybe three, whatever the number is."
yeah, and they're going to be saying that at the Cooper Flag. Shire's like, yeah, we'll go up to Maine a few times a year. Um, yeah, I mean, give me, yeah, like I said, Wes Miller, like this is when you got to get them. They're down. Uh,
On the road in the big zip them up Cincinnati Who Dey rivalry.
I don't know if you've been paying attention to Xavier Twitter, but they've been just like ripping on the student section. Um,
I've not,
again for
believe
the
it or not, that is not on my check-in every day, but I would love to hear the story. Go ahead.
no, they were just ripping on him for not showing up for Delaware. I mean, give not showing up for Oakland. Give Xavier credit; they played pretty well against Houston. The crowd kept them in the game. Damn, I might be talking myself out of Cincinnati. No, I'm going with Cincinnati. Have two of the best names in college basketball: Jizzle James, Day Thomas.
Hmm.
The what's the guy? Where's he from? The like
Pete.
Latvia, the Lukosius guy.
Yes, nice. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you got to get them if you're Cincinnati, make the rivalry again. Xavier's down, Butler's up, unrelated. Give me the Bearcats.
Yeah, yeah. Bad Mama just replacing Sean Miller, I guess. I don't know where that came from, but in the smooth transition game, maybe they're ripping on that good old Xavier student section because of the Skyline chili that's offered for free. Moving now to Oklahoma. They are on a neutral site in Tulsa. Arguable how neutral that is, considering Tulsa's not that close to Norman, but not too far. Living in still in a truck stock conference. At least my alma mater is until the end of the season. But they are taking on Arkansas, who, believe it or not, should have a very good crowd here, I would suspect. But
Agreed.
Oklahoma, 8-0, one of like 7 teams in the Big 12 still undefeated, which is pretty incredible. But I think that speaks to certain scheduling. But Oklahoma has challenged themselves at two neutrals against Iowa and USC. USC, they wanted the buzzer, and then they pretty much disemboweled Providence. Started out with a 12-0 lead, then ended up giving that back in the second half, but then kind of had a little blip and then turned it on and ended up coasting to a big margin. What do we think about Porter Moser? I've certainly not been a huge fan of his lack of athleticism. It seems like that's what he recruited this year, and he's had some really great 3-point shooting, which it's they're 108th in the country, right about just south of 35%. It's a good number for Oklahoma to like in his tenure, but I'm not sure I'm a believer because it doesn't really seem like it's a Porter Moser style that's happening here. Arkansas, on the other hand, they just came off a big upset win of Duke at home, which I did not pull the trigger on, and I'm still mad about. But they've got some sort of figured out. Got a big win against Furman as well, who's not the same Furman as we've seen from years before, but still a good low major probably program. What do we think about OU potentially trying to become the team that Porter Moser always wanted, which is not the back cuts that he got famous for at Loyola Chicago? Instead, it's a team of athletes and 3-point shooters.
Oklahoma is turning a corner. Was very impressed with them in the La Jolla tournament. I was very impressed with them, absolutely demolishing Providence. But again, we know about Providence's road woes. Again,
Yes,
new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Razorbacks. They're turning a corner. Duke win, save their season. I like to follow up against Furman. I'm on the must bust in this one.
So I was expecting.
I
don't think I gave a number. I was expecting OU to be a 1-point favorite based on the game being in Tulsa. I'm not sure that I feel super confident in that because Tremont Mark did return for Furman, so that's a good sign. Didn't play very well. Offensive rating below 71%, so not great. But I guess that shows he's potentially closer to health when it looked like he broke his hip or something like that. But only missing one game, even though it was a big one, not so bad. Looks like Torvik's got this with Oklahoma 1-point favorite or so. Maybe
Empom has it at 4.
Who? OU minus 4?
Back's getting 4.
So Oklahoma 4-point favorite. I mean, that
Right.
does interest me a lot more in in these neutral court games. You sometimes see them come down to the end, and having more than a possession in your pocket is very interesting. It's not as much in the foul range, though you're likely dead if you're trying to survive some foul shooting late. I think next in the last game that we got before we get to best bets, and probably give Ben a little bit of time to just digest and tell us exactly how he's felt about college basketball so far this season, because I can tell he's been itching to do so. We get UCLA, and they're visiting Kyle Neptune and Villanova. Villanova, I was expecting to be a 6-point favorite. Could be a little bit off in that one because they play so well at home, but they've had some struggles this year. 6-4 now, with a overtime loss to K-State, which is a miraculous comeback and honestly infuriating because I had Kansas State, though a late 3-point shot from Tyler Perry gave the right guy, the right side, the money. But we've got losses now to all the Big Five teams they played. Fortunately, it doesn't look like they have any of them left. They lost to Drexel.
First time ever that's happened.
Lost to Drexel on a neutral, which probably had more Villanova fans just based on crowd size, unless all the other teams there were also ganging up on Villanova, which they might have been. Lost at home to St. Joe's, lost on the road at Penn. So that's a sprinkling, neutral, home, away. And now they get a UCLA team, which is very young, got a very young backcourt. I was expecting 6 here. Looks like Torvik's got 5.5 or so. And then the next one on the list, we got 11 days, but Creighton or it's a road trip to Creighton. So this is a big, I think, stepping stone or a big step for Villanova to show that they aren't as bad as this 6-4 record looks like. I mean, they got big wins over Memphis, North Carolina, Texas Tech, and winning the battle for Atlantis. Demolish a Maryland team that I don't think is going to look very good later in the season, but got a win that they needed. Where are we going with this Villanova team? They got a lot of talent, but my question still is, how do they mix it together?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of conflicting factors in this game. I mean, the UCLA I've been very impressed with. They've also they've been on the lam for a while. I mean, they played Gonzaga and Maui back on the 22nd of November. Their only game since then has been UC Riverside. Hey, that's where I am.
Shout out a 1-point victory. Ooh,
1-point victory.
You know who is from Riverside, by the way? Kawhi.
Interesting. He didn't want to stay local.
I think you got a better offer from San Diego State, but I think that shows you how little people were scouting the Riverside area. I don't know if he played AAU in the way that I think most of the good players at the time did, but yeah, board man, he gets paid.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to go with UCLA.
Yeah, on the road at Villanova, where if there's ever a time Villanova's going to shoot 3-point shots, it will be at home in.
Yeah, no, but we agree Nova sucks though, right?
I don't know. They've got really good players. I don't really think that they have a team that we're used to with Villanova, but they're basically putting the square pegs in the round holes and just trying to get everyone to be the 3-point shooting dominant teams of the Jay Wright years without Jay Wright and without those shooters. So number 1 in the country in free throw percentage, trying to get to the rim a lot, doesn't really fit a 3-point strategy. I mean, 31, 27, 37, 35. Those are our last 4 games against some mediocre, some good competition. And I think they went 0 for 15 in one stretch at the end of the first half at Kansas State. I think I sent you an image of that. So this is a team that's trying to figure out who they are. It's going to be hard to do that against Mick Cronin, I'll say that. But we're again in this kind of weird free throw range where if UCLA is not winning, they need to be very, very tight late to keep this number small enough when you're all of a sudden giving 70 or 82% free throw shooting teams a chance to ice it away at the line.
Yeah, that was a swing vote for me. 82% from the line for Nova. UCLA, 246 in the country in free throws attempted divided by field goals attempted. Again, we both agree Nova sucks, but
I did not say that. Their coach sucks. I'll agree there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take the Cats in this one. You can't be playing one game in 2 weeks and beating the UC Riverside Highlanders by one. You're not going to go to Wells Fargo, fouling like that against Justin Moore. What's he shoot, like 92% from the stripe, something like that? He leads Division One, I think. Moore does. Yeah, so I'll take the Cats.
Try north of 92. Try 96.4%.
96. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Practice your free throw, kids. Practice your free throws.
I mean, it's free.
They're free for a reason.
They are free. All right, so
Dixon is better than Bona, obviously. So yeah, I'll take the Cats.
He'll be giving up a lot of size though.
Sebastian Mack will do everything he can. That guy's a baller.
I mean, Dixon's 6'8" listed here on the notorious and extremely accurate Bart Torvik.
But he looks taller, Griffin. His build makes him look a little.
I mean, he is able to create some space with his girth, if you will. But I think it's going to be a guards game. I'll say Villanova picks today or Saturday to make some 3-point shots. So I think it's going to be really hard for UCLA to go in there and hang around. I'm also pretty much allergic to road teams at this point because why bother fighting or playing games 5-on-8 because you're facing the Zebras the whole time. So that'll do it for our 6-pack of college basketball games on this episode. We still have best bets coming, but I figured we'd give Big East Ben, our resident bracketologist, the ability to tell us how he feels about college basketball. We did not rehearse this. This is probably a surprise, but do you want to give us some more? I mean, you've already given us your 2 reactions to the Marquette win or loss, depending on what you end up watching after we record. We do have best bets coming, so make sure you have one of those ready. But the floor is yours if you have anything you want to say.
No, the non-conference play has been spectacular. The games, like I told you before, my love for the game of college basketball definitely dipped significantly during the 7 years of Wojo, unfortunately.
Was it 7? Are you sure it was 7?
It was 7. Can you believe that?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then me and you were we were having arguments about Bill Walker's high school recruiting rankings. And I was just going back and like
Kansas State's Bill Walker, in case any of you are too young to realize that gambling on college basketball is a lifestyle.
And I was just going back and like looking at the recruiting rankings from like the 06, I don't know, like 04 to 08, and just like looking at the guys on the list and seeing like, Ty Lawson, Chase Budinger, Gravis Vasquez, Luke Bamabute, and just like remembering the glory days. And when I was just, super into it as like a 15-year-old, 13-year-old, 15-year-old, whatever. And I'm just really happy with the state of the game these days. Watching North Carolina Duke not North Carolina Duke, North Carolina UConn the other night was an incredible game. My dad was just texting me about how he hates Hurley and hey, the Hurley shtick has to end. And I'm like, I kind of like it. It's like it's really entertaining. And I just love how everyone is just playing everybody anytime, anywhere, and where it's like non-conference strength of schedule is really focused upon. And I don't think the sport's been in a better place since those mid 2000s years.
Well, very, very, very sentimental from a guy with a very thick mustache. If you're watching on video, I will say I'm very happy that from my college days of the Chicago State coming to visit Texas was always, why do I bother going to this game? Well, I'm not going to study, so let's go. And if we win, we get 5 free wings at Pluckers. So actually, I should stop saying company names unless they're sponsoring us. They're not, so forget them. Anyway, before we get to best bets,
no free ads.
yeah, we need to get some ads to sponsor our to pay for our animation as at least. Check out Matthew.inc as well for on Instagram for our beautiful art. And you can also tell us you send him there and maybe he'll give us some more free things. But I guess it's time for best bets. Before we get in there, if you're not a member of my Patreon yet, check it out, patreon.com/surreal_G Warner. Also in the podcast description, we have sportsbook links to bet online to Sportsbetting.ag. They both give you free money, so sign up there. It's worth it. It works. I actually tried it this week, and you can get free money to play with the casinos because what's better than winning with their money on the line? So Big East Ben, lead us off. We got 3 minutes before this thing kicks us out, so I'll let you lead us off with your best bet.
Yeah. So my best bet, don't tell anyone, but I'm like 0-4 in best bets.
Not your Big East ones. Big East ones have been good.
Yeah, so that's why this is a Big East best bet.
There we go.
I am going with the Hall, the
Seton
Hall, who I called the slowest starting team in Division One. They are playing Rutgers at home on Saturday, December 9th. Torvik has this as a 4-point spread. I think Seton Hall, I watched the game against Baylor. I took the Hall first half. I took Baylor first half. Seton Hall started their second half push a little early, almost covered. But I again made it a close game in the second and just ran out of gas. But I think they turn a corner. You can only play for so bad for someone as angry as Shaheen Holloway. Richmond started to get it going. I still think we haven't seen the best from Alamir Dawes. Haven't been really impressed with Rutgers this year. I gave them as a best bet in that Illinois game, who's now, according to Twitter, going to make a Final Four run. Give me the Hall at home covering 4 points against the Knights.
So this is Betting the Pitch Podcast Network, but Need for Seeds podcast on Betting the Pitch. You just heard Big East Ben gave you it's a look ahead line, so give us a little bit of a break if the line's not exactly where it looks. But Seton Hall -4 at home against Rutgers, straight off a loss and a blowout loss tonight on the road at Wake Forest. I'm going to go with an under. First time I've done that this year, but in Wisconsin visiting Arizona, looks like Torvik is giving us about a 146 number here. I'm just not a believer in Wisconsin staying close in this game, which means that we might miss fouls at the end. But I am a believer in Wisconsin trying to slow this game to a snail's pace. I always prefer, it's usually a home team that might be able to dictate it, but I think the slower team and the team that tries to stop transition is the one that will grind the shot clocks down and make it really hard for Arizona to get out and run. So take Seton Hall, a 4-point favorite at home, and take Arizona under 146. And that'll do it for this episode of Need for Seeds podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We did this late night because Ben is on the West Coast. And this is probably going to kick us off, so I might as well sign us off now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.